What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about UFC fighters who went from overrated to underrated in one fight. So, let's say one fight they were a huge favorite, then they lost, and now people think that they're terrible. Like Steve Erceg, right here on the screen. Um, when he was fighting Kai Kara France, he was a pretty sizable favorite because of how well he did against Pantoja, and then he gets knocked out in the first round. Okay, so I picked him. Everybody picked him. Um, so we were overrating him a little bit. Like I didn't. I should have seen it in his game that he has a problem backing up in straight lines, and Kai Kara France is very good at stepping through with big punches. So that's something you don't want to do against a guy like Kai, and we saw that. Like that was an issue that he had, but now people are. I guarantee you on Tapology if you go look, um, it's gonna be like 80-20 for Moreno against Urseg. I think Urseg is gonna beat Brandon Moreno, dude. I think he's gonna beat him by decision. I think his boxing is better. I think it's a little bit cleaner. Moreno hits harder, but he doesn't really fight like Kai. He is not going to be stepping through on big overhands like that. And I expect Urseg to be a lot better in this fight because that fight against Kai and the fight against Pantoja were huge learning experiences. Like he went from fighting Matt Schnell to fighting Kai Kara France and Pantoja. Okay, that's a huge jump. They threw him to the wolves early, bro. In his fourth fight, he's fighting for a fucking title. Um, I expect Steve Erceg to come back a lot better. He's very young, and he is one of the most skilled flyweights on the roster right now. He can do it all. He's one of the best boxers at flyweight. He's one of the best grapplers. He can do it all. And I think he will beat Brandon Moreno. I think he'll beat him by a pretty close 48-47 decision. But I think he's going to outbox Moreno, maybe mix in some takedowns. I think if Moreno shoots on him, he'll be able to stuff it. And yeah, I think Steve Erceg is underrated at this point. He was overrated before he fought Kai. Underrated right now. Very underrated. But on to the next example. I got Davison Figueiredo. So I feel like a lot of people were picking him against Peter Yan, including me. I did pick him. I picked a lot of these guys in this video. Um, but yeah, I really was overrating his chances against Yan. He is like he's very good. Figueiredo's a very good fighter, but I probably should have picked Yan. You know, hindsight it's always 2020, but Yan does have a much deeper tool bag on the feet, and he also is one of the best grapplers in MMA. I'm tired of people not bringing that up. Peter Yan is one of the best grapplers in MMA right now. He is an amazing grappler, okay? That's just the way it is, right? So I thought Figgy would be able to take him down, control him, and I thought he'd be able to land big shots on Peter Yan on the feet, which he was able to do. He did drop Peter Yan, but it was later in the fight, just didn't do enough to win. So I'd say he was overrated before that fight. But now, against Corey, I am picking Corey to win, but I think it'll be a very close decision. I see a lot of people saying things like, oh, Corey's going to eat this dude alive, Corey by 50-45. Corey's levels above him, and I disagree with that. I think it's a very close fight, almost 50-50 in my opinion. There is a very high chance that Davison Figueiredo knocks Corey Sandhagen out, okay? He's still very good. Like, Davison Figueiredo is not a guy that you can out-grapple, okay? That's not going to happen, especially not against Corey Sandhagen. And he's a guy who's very hard to knock out. I used to be worried about his cardio. Not anymore. He's had 5 rounders now. His cardio is good, especially at bantamweight where he's not cutting so much weight. He is the most powerful bantamweight on the roster. Okay, he dropped Cheeto, and I think he might be the most powerful fighter pound for pound. Maybe not the most, but he's one of the most powerful fighters pound for pound in the UFC. He's at least like top 5. He hits crazy hard. He's very accurate. His striking is very good. His wrestling is very good. He's just one of the most well-rounded fighters. So I think he does have a very good chance against Corey Sandhagen. Okay, so I'd say he's being underrated right now. But on to the next one. This is what kind of made me think of this video. Before the Topuria fight, everybody was just riding on Max's fucking dick, just slurping it up. and he goes out there. He gets slept out cold by Ilya Abturo, and now people are completely fucking down on his chances to ever win a fight again. And I think it's silly because, well, I do think people were very wrong in the way they were talking about him before the Ilya fight. Like they were saying, oh, he's gonna destroy Ilya, and I'm not saying it was a bad pick. What I'm saying is it was a terrible pick if you picked him to like destroy Ilya or dominate him. People like I remember Bedtime MMA was like pretty confident that Max was going to win, but like he said it's going to be a close like 48-47 decision, and I think Max wins. That was a good pick. That wasn't that bad. But a vast majority of people were saying like, "Oh, he's going to dominate Ilya." And I get it because the hype from that Justin Gaethje KO was insane, but people were really overrating Max. But now people would pick him to lose to Dustin Poirier. They'd probably pick Charles against him. They'd pick him to lose to like probably almost all the top lightweights. People would probably pick Rafael Fiziev against this guy, okay? And I think it is very silly the way I see people talking about him. A lot of people think he's probably just not going to win again. And Max is still very good at lightweight. I think his chin will still be amazing. And he's just much faster than these lightweights. He's got a deeper tool bag in the striking. He can switch stances. He throws very nice kicks. His boxing is obviously elite, and his defense has gotten so much better over the years. Max Holloway, back when people actually called him the best boxer in the UFC, he was not even fucking close. Now he is pretty close. His defense is pretty fucking good right now. Okay, and I think Max Holloway is going to go on a win streak at lightweight. I think he'll get himself a title shot. I think he will. I really do. And I don't think he'll be the champion again. Whether Ilya's the champion or Islam's the champion at lightweight, I don't think he beats either of those guys. But I think he would beat almost every other lightweight on the roster. So I think Max has still got it. He's not old either. He's been fighting for a long time, but he's still in his physical prime. So Max Holloway is on my list. On to Mr. Leon Mumblemouth Edwards. I'm not a big fan of Leon Edwards. I really don't like him. He's one of my least favorite fighters. He's like Bilal, if Bilal was a kickboxer. Um, just fucking boring. No aura. Look at this guy, dude. Look at this guy. There's nothing there. Um, but vastly overrated before the Bilal fight by people, including myself. Okay, you probably couldn't find 5 people on earth that picked him to lose to Bilal. I picked him to knock Bilal out. I thought he was going to knock Bilal out. That was a silly pick. I'm ashamed that I picked him. Listen, you guys are going to be blown away. In the third fight against Usman, I picked him to knock Usman out. The fight against Colby, I picked him to knock Colby out. The fight against Bilal, I picked him to knock Bilal out. I didn't learn my lesson 3 times in a row. So I'm ashamed. I'm very ashamed. But right now, I feel like 99% of people are going to be picking him to lose to Sean Brady. And I get it because Sean Brady does have a lot of similarities to Bilal. But I think Leon can win this fight, dude. I still think he beats most of the welterweights. I think he would lose to Jack Della Maddalena. I think he would lose to Joaquin Buckley. I think he might lose to Bilal again. That fight was close, okay? 48-47. Leon won 2 rounds. He beat the shit out of Bilal at the end of the 5th round. It was a close fight, okay? So I could see him beating Bilal again, or not again. Like, I could see him beating Bilal, but I'd probably pick Bilal. I think he'd beat Usman again. I think he'd beat Ian Gary. I think he would beat fucking, who else is there? I'm not a casual. I swear to God, I'm not a casual. He beat Gilbert Burns. I think he beat Michael Morales. I think he could beat Jeff Neal. I think he could beat Carlos Prates. I think there's a lot of people that Leon Edwards could still beat, and I might pick him to beat Sean Brady. I think if he's just a little bit more aggressive against Sean Brady, doesn't let himself get backed up so much, he can stuff the takedowns. I think don't turtle against the fence. Sean Brady will take your back and choke you out, dude. But I think he can stuff the takedowns from Sean Brady, and I think he can beat him on the feet, win a decision. That's probably what I'm going to pick. And I think he'll probably be an underdog. I haven't looked at the odds. I would imagine he'd be an underdog after that Bilal fight. But, yeah, I think Leon Edwards is still a very good fighter. But on to the next one. Sean Strickland. Um, People I feel like have completely missed the mark on the DDP fight, the second DDP fight. People think he lost because he sucks. He's terrible. Sean Strickland is a bum. All that talking just to fight like that. And I get it. He does talk kind of crazy just to fight like I don't know how to put it. I guess just a pussy. He fights like a pussy. He doesn't want to get hit, which is smart. It's a smart fighting style. You shouldn't want to get hit. You shouldn't want to be taking brain damage. The goal is to hit and not get hit. But the thing with Sean Strickland, he doesn't really. He's just not really dangerous. He doesn't really do anything to hurt people. Like your nose is probably gonna hurt. Your face is probably gonna hurt from his jabs after the fight, but that's about it. He doesn't really throw combos. He throws one twos. He throws teeps. He doesn't really do anything to damage you that much. Um, but he's still the most defensively sound fighter in the UFC, and DDP cracked the code in the second fight. Um, and I think, you know, a lot of people were picking DDP, but it was actually pretty close. I saw a fair, you know, few people picking Strickland, and after the Paulo fight, I guess people really turned it around on him. They didn't like him. But after the first DDP fight, it was getting kind of insufferable how fucking overrated people were talking about him. Like, they overrated the shit out of him. But now that he lost to DDP, I think he is underrated. Like, I don't think anybody else could really do that to him. I think he would beat Izzy again. I think he would. I don't think he'd beat Whitaker. I think Whitaker would beat him. I think Kyle Barallo could beat him, but I might even pick him to beat Kyle. I'm not sure. Um, he'd lose to Hamzat. That's easy. Everybody loses to Hamzat except DDP. Um, he'd probably beat a Mavov in a rematch. I just think Strickland's still very good, man. I don't know what to say about it, really. I think he's still good. He's underrated. I don't think it was that bad of a performance. I think DDP just fucking cracked the code. But on to the next one. Jamal Hill. Now, before the Yuri fight, I think most people were probably picking Jamal Hill. I think he was a favorite because anytime he fights anybody who doesn't have defense, like who has pretty mid defense, people are like, "Oh, Hill is a sniper. He's gonna knock you out." A lot of people were picking him to beat Yuri, so I'd say he's pretty overrated. I know MMA Guru picked him. I think Bedtime picked him. Lucas Tracy, I think he picked Yuri. I picked Yuri. I'm on the good side, guys. I pick Yuri every fight. Jamal Hill, though, I think he was overrated before the Yuri fight, but now people are picking him to get knocked out by Khalil Roundtree in the first round, and I get it because of the early turnaround, but I think he's going to beat Khalil. I really do. I think there's things he does very well. I like his straight punches, and I really like his knees and his dirty boxing. I think that can give Khalil some problems. I think Jamal Hill is underrated. I think he beats a lot of people. I could see him beating Magomed Ankalaev. Um, he beat Dominic Reyes. I think he could have a close fight with Jan Blachowicz. Just because he lost to the two best light heavyweights, I don't think it means he's complete shit, okay? I think, at the end of the day, he's still a former champion, and he's still a very good and dangerous fighter. So, Jamal Hill is on my list. But the last fighter, Sergey Pavlovich. After, before the Tom fight, very overrated. Um, Even before the Volkov fight, I saw like two people picking Volkov, and I picked Sergey, okay? I'm not innocent, okay? I picked Sergey. I picked Tom to beat him, but I picked him to beat Volkov. Um, but now, after this Jairzinho Rosenstrike fight, I know it wasn't like the best, but he did kind of dominate Jairzinho. He beat the shit out of him on the feet. He rocked him several times, and he did kind of just ragdoll him. But I still think he could beat almost every heavyweight besides like Tom. He lost to Volkov, and I think he could beat Gon. I probably pick Gon to beat him, but if he wrestles like he did against Jairzinho, I think he could beat Gon. I think if he mixes more wrestling into his game, he can beat a lot of guys. He beat Curtis Blades. I think people are just really down on Pavlovich right now just because he didn't look the best in his past three fights. But I still think he is a top level heavyweight, and I think he's extremely dangerous for anybody. So that is the last guy on my list. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a good day.